So today we're going to be talking about the differences or the distinguishing between liberty and freedom. Liberty and freedom is looking at if kind of like anything in Western culture. It's something has evolved from the ages. One of the things that I did notice, I'm sitting there going through everything. If you look at the Webster Dictionary, Webster Dictionary basically says, and I'm going to kind of look over here, and it says exactly that freedom is noted as being a state of being free of the absence of necessity, coercion, or restraint in the choice of action, the liberation from slavery or restraint, and a few other things like that. The other one, if when you look at liberty, liberty is by the Webster, most of the definitions are exactly the same thing. The only thing that you see that there's a bit difference, and this is where Liberty points out that liberty is a enjoyment of the positive treatment and political or economic rights and privileges. So, looking at the whole historical background to it and everything else, one of the things that we notice is as we go through and we take this look at the Constitution, we look at the Magna Carta, we look at the Greek and the Romans. Greek and the Romans, as always, are where everything sort of kind of evolves from. In the Greek philosophy of things, the Greek freedom meant that you were free from being a slave, much like the very last, almost second last definition that they put in uh, for the Webster Dictionary. On that same note, when they talk about privilege or talk about liberty, liberty are privileges that are given and such things when you start coming into the Magna Carta. Magna Carta, the privileges are things that are given to the royalty and such because they are born of noble birth. And the whole king, my favorite is the divine right. I was born as king, so hence God had divinely put me into this position as being king. Same with all the royalty and anybody who is within the lords, ladies, and so on. Only thing that ever got any that were not born into it were usually your knights, and the knights, of course, were your basically mercenary soldiers who worked for whoever gave them the highest bidding of the royalty, or in some cases, if you start when you start getting looking at the Templars and that, but that's a whole different subject in and of itself. Getting back to and then when you look at liberty, and this is what liberty, as I said, liberty as you see in the Magna Carta, and you sit there and you even look when you look at our Bill of Rights. Your freedom of speech is not that you're free, it's a privilege that's given to you. If you use your freedom of speech to slander somebody else, you face consequence of slandering this other individual. And this puts you as liable. I always screw those two up. So do please forgive me on that. But in law, you have your what if you say something that is not true, you risk the chance of being sued for it. You're free to say it, but it does have consequences. And this is something that gives the difference between your freedom and your liberty. Freedom is your ability to do whatever, but liberties are your rights and privileges, which can be revoked and can be taken away. Since your right to bear arms, your right to free speech, all those are given to you as liberties, but they can also be taken away from you just as well for Miss Season.